next, Jenni, we're going to talk about the shocking gap between leaders and employees. The numbers from Axios' HQ's 2026 internal comms report are an uncomfortable reading for anyone who calls themselves a communications leader. 27% of leaders believe their employees are fully aligned with the organization's goals. Only 9% of employees agree. The perception gap runs deeper. 80% of leaders think their communications are helpful and relevant. 53% of employees feel the same. The same pattern holds for clarity and engagement. Leaders rate themselves at 80%. Employees check in at 50%. It's also expensive. Employees say they spend 2/3 of their working day doing their actual job. The rest disappears into bad communication, avoidable meetings, and noise that leaders apparently don't notice because they're not the ones sitting in it. The cost of poor communication runs anywhere from $3,600 to $37,000 per employee per year. Jenni, when the leader-employee alignment gap is this wide, 27% versus 9%, neither of those numbers are ideal. At what point does, quote unquote, improving communication stop being the answer and some bigger change become the only true, honest response to this?
Now is the time where it stops. Now we're right here. We're in it. We've been in it for probably about 6 months to a year, if not 2, if not 10. Like, we're in it. And I think that there has to be an uncomfortable conversation. Like, something is really drastically not working. If we're saying 27% of leaders believe their employees are fully aligned, that is abysmal in itself. And then only 9% of employees agree. I mean, what are people doing in organizations? Like, from a leadership perspective, they're probably thinking, what are people doing? Like, are we doing the right things? Employees, only less than 10% agree that they are aligned to what the organization's doing. Something is wrong. And the only thing I can come back to on this is based on the conversations I have with clients, which is a range of people from comms, HR, boards, executive committees, directors. There is a real lack of clarity of strategic direction. And you can blame that on the fact that the world is changing at a rapid pace. We've got to make decisions quickly. All of that I get. But all of that I don't care about when it comes to you having a strategic direction in your organization. It's not an acceptable excuse. And I think that it's being used as an excuse and it doesn't wash anymore. This is the world we live in. You have to adapt to that pace. You've got to think strategically. You've got to put a stake in the ground, get people to move forward, change as you need to, communicate that well and go. But this 27%, I mean, I am shocked. And I know we did the shocking in quote marks, but I am shocked.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the gap that leaders are 3x employees, but even the leaders are really far down the list that to do the reverse math, 73% are saying we are not aligned.
Yeah.
Which is just showcases such a problem. I also want to point to, everybody likes to run to these dollar figures, which now I'm going to do with a cautionary tale on this, that we'll do, it says 3,600 to 37,000. That's a 10x gap right there. That's a pretty big gap between the two. Let's take the conservative number on this. You're a company of 1,000 people. I'm going to do the math for you. That's saying at least that poor communication is costing your company $3.6 million. That's conservatively, per this data, $3.6 million. You're a 10,000 person company, that's 36 million. You have the numbers, you keep adding a zero as you add a zero. And then take the extreme figure of that, all of a sudden you're in the tens of millions of dollars that poor communication comes. If you believe these data figures, and I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, if you believe these data figures, this becomes something to go arm for investment. If you know that, hey, how can we improve communication? Well, we need to get our employees aligned with goals. Do they even know what these goals are? I think that is one of the bigger challenges that is so simply solved, that employees truly don't know the purpose. They don't know what the goals even are because they're not even understandable or easily recitable.
It's infuriating. And I don't, I kind of feel like, to your point on the numbers, I don't know what it's going to take to get people to actually do the work. And this isn't about comms people or HR people. This is about leaders. This is about leaders recognizing, actually, do you know what? We need to just go and sit in a room for 2 days and just figure out what we're doing. And then we can, come out and talk about it. Like, make the time to have that conversation.
I think that's actually one of the worst things they could do. is going to a room and talk about it. I want them to go out and talk to all the other people. They spend enough time talking to each other. I want them to go out and talk to everybody else.
No, I disagree. I do not think they do spend anywhere near enough time talking to each other. I think they spend like a quick hour here and a quick hour there, and they don't spend the time to talk about what is it we're really doing? How are we going to talk about that? What's the impact across the organisation? Yes, by all means, go out and talk to people and bring that back in. But at the moment, you need to put some sort of stake in the ground to get people moving, and then test, adapt, iterate, agile. All of these things are there. But my worry of if you go out and spend the time and go out and talk to everybody and come back, you're kicking this down the curb. You're giving people permission to go out and spend 3 months and 6 months and do this and then come back. There is not the time. Like, you have to make that decision, then be agile enough to evolve it and shift it and change it. But you have to do the work to pull this together. Otherwise, you're going to be spending millions, as you've pointed out, each year on stuff that you could absolutely save.